Man, it's really the offseason when you start thinking long term about certain players and you know contracts and all that good stuff, man. We're getting to all that as it pertains to Deebo Samuel, his usage, some comments that were made on him by a Packer guy. All right, and I gotta pull that tweet up. We got a Packer guy, Peter, y'all favorite guy, Peter. We're gonna talk about his comments on Deebo Samuel and Kyle Shanahan. It really was directed at Kyle Shanahan, but Deebo Samuel, his contract, what is that gonna look like? His usage, should they stop running him as much? Does that take away from what he gives you? All that and more. Keep it locked right here. It's San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crop Talk TV podcast. Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And y'all know what it is, man. We're getting into it. It's the fun time of the offseason, starting to talk about some of the future of the players and rosters and contracts and all that good stuff. If you haven't already, make sure you guys not only subscribe and like this channel, but Locked On 49ers with myself, Brian Peacock. All right, we had a Winky Wednesday episode. And when you guys hit the Winky Wednesday episode, please don't be upset with me by some of the things I had to say in that episode. I'm just going to keep it at that. I know I'm going to have some 49er fans kind of getting at me. I actually had one person in my mentions today say, Croc, you made a lot of sense. The 49er mob might try to come and get you, but you made a lot of sense. So make sure you guys listen to that. Locked On 49ers with myself, Brian Peacock. We come at y'all 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Check that out. All right. I have some things to say. I already see some people listen to the episode. George, come on, listen. Y'all go listen to it, man. That's all I'm saying. Also, Locked On NFL Draft. We're getting deep into the draft stuff. Myself, my co-host, Ryan Tracy. We also had John Harris, who is a beat writer for the Houston Texans. We had him on last night. He comes every Tuesday night we record. So every Wednesday episode. Make sure y'all listen to that too. Subscribe to all the stuff I got going on. We got to get Greg Pinelli back on here. It is the off season, but we still got to get Greg Pinelli in here. So I see somebody in the chat say, is Greg Pinelli going to follow Jimmy G to his? Hold on, I got to take a picture of that and send this to him. Hold on. All right, I got to send that to Greg. Greg is funny, man, because you know what though? Hey, shout out. There's somebody on here that ran into Greg at a golf tournament. You know, Greg, he talks about how Greg is Josh Allen is his like little brother. You know what I'm saying? Josh Allen for Buffalo Bills. And he does stuff for them, golf tournaments and things like that. So over this last weekend, I believe it might have been the weekend before, but I think it was this last weekend. Yeah, last weekend. He was out there with Josh Allen, and somebody went up to him and was like, hey, you're Greg Pinelli from Croc's show. I love listening to y'all. So shout out to y'all, man. His wife was like, man, can you get him a blue check mark? Yeah, but yeah, that was cool. That's cool that people are like, hey, you're Greg Pinelli from Croc's Morning Show. That was pretty cool. I'm pretty sure he liked that. He didn't even tell me. He probably was like, nah, I ain't gonna pump up Croc's head. But his wife, she told me. Got some super chats rolling in already. I have a bone to pick with you, Croc, on your Jennings take. Well, let me hear it. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do is, I want you to come on live. So I'm going to hit you right now on social media. All right. Roscoe's. Hold on. What's your... I got you. All right, so check your DM on Twitter, Chris. You can come on live. I want all the Jennings smoke for sure. So go ahead, because you know me, I'm prepared. I'm prepared. So I just shot you that DM. So go ahead, click in. We can talk about that even before we get into the Deebo Samuel stuff. Jimmy G contract off the book, signed Deebo and Bosa, trading Kittle If I could get Waller and a third, listen, one, you're not getting you're not getting Waller. All right. And I don't see a scenario where you are able to trade Kittle for Waller. Because if the Raiders were willing, let's say hypothetically the Raiders were willing to trade Darren Waller, don't think that is something that will happen. Uh, it'll be trying to get money off the books and not pay another tight end when they probably think that they have the best tight end in the league. All right. Like if I'm the Raiders, I feel like Darren Waller is the best tight end in the league. All right, so here we go. We got Chris coming on. We're about to get into the Deebo Samuel stuff, but Chris is coming on, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say. So the floor is yours. I also got the Locked On Sports in the background, but go ahead. The floor is yours.
What's up, Croc? You like my profile pic?
Who's that? Reggie Bush,
Of course. Who
the
do you
best
think
person
it is?
I've ever seen.
The greatest college football player ever. No debate. Nobody should even be talking about it. But remember when I think, yeah, when I came on and we were speaking, and you was like, yeah, I don't. Jennings really don't move the needle for you, and this and that, and I'm like, interesting. And I was like, and overall, I do agree with your take because I tweeted it out, and I was like, overall, I agree with Croc's take as far as receivers because if Deebo Samuel or you go down, what do we have? Benjamin can't, it was not going to cut it. Sanu is not going to cut it. And I don't even know what other receiver we had this year, but they're not cutting it either. So, or Trent Sherfield, I mean, I like him, but I like him with Trey Lance. Trey Lance likes him. Trey Lance uses him. But overall, I mean, we don't have nothing outside of those two guys. But as far as the slot, and where we use Jennings, you said that he didn't move the needle for you, and I'm just like, bro, that's disrespectful. So Jordan put out a nice little what
Jordan Splash Cousins.
yeah, which he needs to be on the show. Still don't understand why he's not on the show. Well, that's neither here nor there. uh, he put out a nice little all 22 play. It was one play, but then overall I was like, dang, Croc really. I feel like Croc forgot this element, but it showed Jennings just mauling one of the Seattle DBs in the blocking, and I'm like, you can't tell me that a receiver is going to come in here. I don't care how special they are. A receiver from this draft is going to come in here and just take Jennings' spot away or even push him like that because one thing Kyle Shanahan loves, he loves a blocking receiver. And Jennings may be one of the best blocking receivers in the league. I mean, we all seen it. He literally forced, I think at least twice this year, he had forced, what do you call it, unsportsmanlike penalties because his aggressiveness as a blocker. Not to mention the dude had 5 touchdowns, had so many clutch catches in his position that he was in, which not every receiver is gonna do that for you. A lot of us talk about how we miss Kendrick Bourne, and Kendrick Bourne was this and that, especially in New England. People's like, oh yeah, see Kendrick. I mean, I know you said it. People got on me for Kendrick Bourne, but look at him how he's balling. Well, I feel like Jennings made us not miss Kendrick Bourne. I thought he played extremely well. All right, Croc,
Okay, so here's
get on
my
my
thing with
line.
Kendrick Bourne.
Get on my line.
Hold on, stay on too, because I got something I'm about to pull up for you. But here's my thing on Kendrick Bourne. It was never about like him being special or anything like that. I just feel like he was unfairly criticized. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree
So
with
I
you.
know exactly what Kendrick Bourne is. Like he's a solid 3, and it could be a 2 in a pinch. And I think maybe Jennings is somewhat like that, but even then, I think Kendrick Bourne is a little bit more dynamic. Now, obviously, Jennings brings a little bit more size, but I thought Kendrick Bourne played big, regardless of him not being as physically big as Jawan Jennings. When it comes to Jawan Jennings, the blocking is cool, but I want to show you something here. All
Well,
right.
you,
So
you
you
can't
talked
just
about.
okay.
So hold on. You talked about blocking and that just nobody's gonna come in with that mindset and move him. So here's Christian Watson right here. Can you see me circling that? Does it show
Yeah,
me circling it?
Christian,
All right.
how you
So
doing?
let's watch him here
taking
because
care of
this is the guy that
business,
I was talking about.
making sure
So
that
here he
your
comes. Reach
teammate,
second level. Okay. Gets it
his
on the block.
play
All right.
is as important as yours.
Cool.
And so
Okay.
that's
Blocks
what I
him.
accredit it
Okay.
to. Buys in
Lead
practice.
blocker.
And
Boom.
I mean, it's
Goes
cool
to
to
block
see
him.
a
Come
player of
on,
his
man.
caliber that,
Come on.
you
So
know,
I hear you, but if we talking about blocking and effort, was that enough effort in the blocking
No,
game?
that's good. But I just think coming into the NFL,
On top of that, because we're talking about Jennings, right? And I was saying Jennings
yeah,
doesn't move the needle for me. Like, if you talk about really, and again, I don't want to say this in a sense of because one guy's in the NFL and one guy's coming out of college. All right. And I know a lot of times people be like, oh, this guy's better at this. But I would say this as prospects, looking at Christian Watson as a prospect, looking at Juwan Jennings as a prospect,
of course, Christian Watson is better as a prospect.
he's better as a prospect. And he's a more explosive player and he's actually bigger.
But I feel like
So it's like he's bigger, more explosive, has more versatility to be able to play inside, outside. He's ran kickoff returns back for touchdowns, and he's gonna likely run a 4.3 or 4.4. Like you know what I'm saying? So they're not. So Jennings is a solid, as our guy Kenneth said here, solid possession receiver. Talking about Jennings, but when it comes to it depends on what you want, right? I look at, and I'm not saying that the 49ers have what the Cincinnati Bengals have, but I think Deebo Samuel is one of the best receivers in the league, right? And then off of that, you look at other things that obviously Chase, one of the best receivers in the league. But outside of Chase, they still have a 1,000-yard receiver in Higgins, and you have Tyler Boyd, who's also been a 1,000-yard receiver. So I think when you have three guys who are explosive like that as pass catching receivers, as well as a tight end they start to bring along, I think that just makes you more dynamic from an offensive standpoint. And if I'm looking at the 49ers, I think they need to expand on what they have on offense. But the reason why I like Christian Watson so much, and if they don't get a receiver, whatever, y'all won't hear me cry about it. But what I do like about him is he brings a totally different dynamic than what anything that the 49ers have right now. Who is the guy that you can consistently just say, you know what, just run straight. We're going to throw it up, put it in the area, and you come down with the ball. Because not just Watson has that. And also way more ability than just that. But he just brings a totally different dynamic. And I think, hey, like, don't make it to where you have to scheme and everything open. Don't make it to where everything that you do has to rely on Deebo Samuel or one of these other guys doing run after catch. But also, Juwan Jennings, he's a solid possession receiver. I would like to get more dynamic at either the third or second receiver. That's just, but like, that's no knock on Jennings. I think Jennings ideally is more of your ideal, like, fourth receiver.
You said third or second receiver. That's like, I feel like that was a little knock on Brandon Ayuk, man.
I think Ayuk is very solid. I would say that, and again,
hold on, Cross.
Go ahead.
I feel like you I don't think, like, I really feel like you're not taking into account the quarterback that they had. I really don't. Like, there's some things that, I mean, of course, Deebo had a dynamic receiver, but if you look at it in the second half, Deebo only had 30 receptions as a receiver. I mean, after week 9, he only had 30 receptions as a receiver. Deebo should have, people were like, 14,000 yards. Bro, Deebo should have had about 18,000 yards as a receiver. But after week 9, he only had, and I'm glad Grant Cohn put this up, he only had 30 receptions, and then most of it came from rushing all his other touchdowns. So I don't think you really taking into account how bad our quarterback was. And we're like, you're comparing us to the Bengals. I mean, look who they had.
No, I'm not comparing this to the
No,
Bengals.
no. I'm
Okay.
I'm saying the way you're speaking about the Bengals receivers, I think, like, you got to understand who their quarterback is. We had Jimmy I'm gonna be respectful. Jimmy Garoppolo, who
I don't think Jimmy was the reason why the stats or why
I think so.
Deebo
100%.
was utilized that way. I think it was more so of you had Mitchell that was kind of banged up. He was in and out of the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they really had a RB2 that they felt like they could rely on. And once they realized Deebo Samuel could be that guy, I think they chose to utilize him more in that sense. I don't think it had to do with like, oh, it's because of Jimmy. Because I really think that what Deebo does do very well, I think Jimmy Garoppolo's his skill set works well with that. I think they work hand in hand. Jimmy is very good, intermediate, over the middle. Deebo Samuel is really good, get the ball in his hands, run after catch. And I think that was a good marriage. I think maybe
I,
Ayuk could have been hurt a little bit more.
I think it was a good marriage, but it was a marriage that could have been taken to another level.
Okay.
Like that marriage. I mean, you got some marriages that are cool and stuff. People are doing great, but then there's some marriages that are doing great. Things are going good. I mean, things are perfect. And then sometimes in marriage you level up. People level up. People don't just stay the same. People grow. And I thought Debo, he had a cool season. He was on pace to have a
Cool.
bigger season.
He had a
No,
great
I'm
year. He
saying
had almost
no,
1,800
no, no.
yards.
He had a great year, but I'm saying he would have had a better year, bro, if he had a better quarterback. I promise you this. I will put anything on it. He would have had over at least 16. Bro, he had about what? 1,200 yards by week, what, 7 or 8? Dog,
Yeah.
he was about to go.
Who was his quarterback?
No, but what I'm saying is, I mean, they
But
stopped,
who's his
they stopped
quarterback?
using them. Well, hold
He
on.
had like
They
1,000
was they
yards by
stopped.
week 8. Who was his quarterback?
No, no, no. Croc, hold on. I understand, but they stopped using them as a receiver and have to use them at running back. I get that. I get it. But then what happened to Kittle? Kittle had a falling off. Kittle wasn't seeing the ball the last what, how many games? Because I think his last 5 or 6 games, Kittle had no, I don't even think he had five receptions in any of those games. His last
Yeah,
five or
nah,
six
his
games.
numbers dropped off drastically.
Drastically.
I
And
got a question. I got a question for you because we brought this up on Locked On. I told everybody to listen to the Locked On episode so you can hear it. But I touched on George Kittle
no,
and his
no,
usage
I
or
don't like trading Kittle, but keep going.
their usage or lack thereof. And you look at the 49ers and cap space, and we're going to get into it. We haven't even really got into like the actual like Deebo conversation. I guess we are talking about a little bit right now. You're on as a guest now. All right. By the way, but if y'all don't know, man, it's my guy Roscoe. He's joined me to talk about Deebo Samuel now. Deebo Samuel had an amazing year. Almost 1,800 yards. He had 14 touchdowns. He averaged, I think, a league leading 18.2 yards per catch, which is amazing, especially for someone who's not really stretching the field like that. I think that's awesome. 77 receptions, and he also, obviously running the ball, he did extremely well. Do you think George Kittle is being utilized to his full potential?
That's a good question. I think he is. Well, it's a two-part question. I mean, it's a two-part answer. Because if you look at the beginning of the year, I mean, it's like first 2 games. I remember. I think you even spoke about it. We're like, why is George Kittle not getting enough targets? Remember, we were like, why is George
What was
Kittle
my
not getting?
thing? I said Deebo and Kittle should get at least 8 targets a game each.
Exactly. Yep.
At
And
least 8.
we sit here, we watch Kelsey. You know what? I'm gonna ask you a question. No, Croc, he's not. Because I sit here and watch Kelsey, and I see how Kelsey get all of these targets, and I'm like, bro, where's George Kittle in this? Why is he not getting the targets that we see Kelsey getting, or we see other tight ends getting? And then of course George Kittle had that, had his big break and start just going off, start scoring the touchdowns, start actually being utilized in the red zone. And I was like, okay, this is where we at. And then for some reason, after the Atlanta game, it was 3 targets, 2 targets against Houston. He had 7 targets against the Rams, but he only had 5 catches for 10 yards. He had
That's
3
crazy.
targets against Dallas. he had 6 targets against Green Bay, 4 for 63, and then he had 5 targets against the Rams, and he caught 2 of them, 2 for 27 and a touchdown, bro. No, he's not being utilized to his full potential, and I hate
So
going
hold on,
back
I
to the
got another
quarterback
question for
position.
you. Hold on, I got another question for you. Do you think that is more of a Shanahan issue or a Jimmy Garoppolo issue? Because the targets didn't increase when Trey Lance was at quarterback.
I would say this. Well, I mean, Trey Lance is a rookie. You know, I'm not gonna put that much on him. I'm gonna say
So
this.
Kyle Shanahan.
I'm gonna say this. The game. Remember, somebody posted a screenshot against the Rams and showed how open our receivers were. I'm not sure how many it showed about Kittle being open and stuff, but I remember you speaking about it, and I seen your tweet, and you was like, you see, y'all want to blame Kyle Shanahan, but there was tons of open receivers. Quarterback just didn't throw them the ball. So
One second. I do, and I've also touched on it as well on this show. I feel like on any play you can pretty much point to guys that are open. I don't know what the reads are,
yeah, no,
so
that's fair. That's fair.
I don't know if it's because one thing fans, if the quarterback's reads are left to right and like pre-snap, it tells him to look to that side first. A lot of times he's not going to get to backside. So there's that aspect of it. Now maybe the quarterback just look.
I remember
the,
you talking about
other
that.
side.
I remember you talking about that. This is what I want to say. I think it's partial Jimmy and it's partial Kyle Shanahan.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
I think it's both. But I mean, when you have a dynamic weapon as Kittle, he should. I mean, these games, especially in the playoffs, you use your best players in the playoffs. There's no, and maybe we can't blame it on Kyle Shanahan. There's no excuse that Deebo and Kittle should have 1 touch combined in the fourth quarter in the NFC Championship game.
They
What do
say,
you say?
hey, they're saying, when I'm on YouTube, I'm nice to Jimmy, and when I'm on Twitter, I go hard on him.
I mean,
I
that
think,
shows that you
and I got my
fair.
guy. Well, I think what it is on
Dang,
YouTube,
they
I
say
get
you've
to
been
like,
tripping lately.
I know, well, because I'm defending Jimmy Garoppolo, but it's not that I'm defending Jimmy. How can I explain this? Because you talk to me outside of YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
so like I can't wait to get that motherfucker out of here, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
so,
yes,
but
100%.
on YouTube, it's more than just 140 characters. I get a chance to really kind of explain like my thoughts and my reasoning. So when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, I've accepted who he is and what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, and where he could potentially be a liability, right? And I understand that, and I've accepted him for that. And I think along the lines of Kyle Shanahan, who has accepted it as well and understands the fact that, hey, I can win with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like that's it. And I know that like you can win with Jimmy Garoppolo, even within some of his weaknesses. But let's not act like Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have any strengths. And I do think a big strength of his is throwing in rhythm, throwing over the middle. Yes, does he maybe limit some of the offense, not really being able to, throw to certain levels of the field consistently well? Of course, right? And there is a whole nother level and steps that this offense can go to without him if Trey Lance can get to that point, right? Like we know that. But I think sometimes when I come off as being kind of fair to Jimmy Garoppolo, it comes off as if like I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? And
I don't
I
think
don't think so. I think
I don't think you're this specific episode. I don't think you're tripping. I mean, it's a good discussion. I don't think you're overly defending Jimmy like you like you did the last couple of weeks of the season and in the playoffs. But
No. But what was I defending though? Because see, you know what I'm saying? I know
you
everybody
was
here. Oh,
talking
he's
this
just
whole
defending him.
last two. Hold on, you were talking this whole last 2 minutes, and I would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo than any other quarterback besides Brady and Patrick Mahomes in the last 2 minutes. I'll take him over
Yes.
Josh Allen. And Jimmy came back and
Last 2
showed
minutes.
you. Yeah, I know you said that, and Jimmy came back and showed you, Croc. No, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy,
No, no, no,
Croc.
no, 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 no,
I'm
no,
not
no, no,
that
no,
guy.
no. No, he did not. I'm not gonna take a game or two where maybe he didn't come through in that moment and disregard all the other times I've seen him consistently do it.
Croc, this is
Like
the
he's
brightest
been very
moments.
good in that moment. Now,
This is the
does it
brightest
suck
moments,
that
Croc.
I know, but how often? How often is like so? Other games aren't bright moments. I feel like it's all like what sample size? Like somebody said, oh, they talked about how it's like, well, with Trey Lance, George Kittle didn't get the ball. He didn't get the targets either, right? And somebody in the comments was like, well, he only played one game with George Kittle, and I agree, right? Small sample size. I'm just saying, is it going to get better? All right. Now with Jimmy Garoppolo, I've seen a large sample size to where I'm not going to take one moment that might be more important than or in somebody's head than the other because you know how I look at it, right?
It's 2 moments.
Listen, no. Listen, when I watch a football game, how I judge players is not off one play,
Oh yeah,
right?
of
Yeah,
course.
I've
Oh
had
yeah,
this
I know that.
conversation with you.
You know, yeah, I
So
know
to
that.
me, with how I would grade players is not one play, it's not two plays. I look at how does this person play over 70 plays. And I understand that, okay, if they have 2 bad plays in a game, to me, that's 2 bad plays out of 70. You know what I'm saying? So, in like, okay, I saw somebody in the chat earlier. I actually started the tweets the message so I could come back to it. Talking about Kendrick Bourne. He was criticized drops. He was criticized for drops. Got this one here. Bourne couldn't catch in the clutch, but then again, it was Jimmy. Like, how couldn't Bourne
Okay,
catch in
that's
the
that's
clutch?
that's not a fair. That's not fair. That's false. That's
You
false.
know what I'm saying? Like, but what I'm saying is, people they'll pick and choose the moments that they want to remember or that they want to prioritize more than another, and then say, well, because so when the 49ers are playing the Vikings in the divisional round, and Kendrick Bourne had 3 catches on 3rd down, one ball fluttering in the air, he came through, came down with it. Another ball thrown high and behind him, he came down with it. Another one that ended up being a touchdown. Well, we can go to the Saints game. That was one of the biggest games of the year for the 49ers. It sealed home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Kendrick Bourne, 3rd down, touchdown. Kendrick Bourne, 3rd down, touchdown. So are those moments, because it wasn't a playoff game, any less important than another moment? You see what I'm saying? Like, so
Yes.
I tie it all together in the sense of somebody's ability.
Okay, Croc. Look, okay. Let's get real. Let's have this what's real discussion.
Hold on, real quick. I gotta address this. He dropped passes all the time. No, Kendrick Bourne did not drop passes. Everybody talked about how Kendrick Bourne dropped all these passes. 2019, right? Because he was with the 49ers 2019, 2020. 2019, he dropped 3 passes all year.
They
Kendrick
remember
Bourne in 2019. Huh?
They remember the Seahawks game. That's why it stood out.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I mean when I say people prioritize a certain moment or something and then say that that's who like against the Seahawks, he dropped 2 passes. Against the Steelers, he dropped 1 pass. That's it all year. All year, Kendrick Bourne. But because of that, now he's not clutch. Now, no other catches that he had throughout the year on 3rd down, which was damn near all his catches were 3rd downs or touchdowns. None of those matter. But he drops too many passes because in the Seahawks game, he dropped 2, one that went off his hands and got intercepted. So when I say with Jimmy Garoppolo, when I tie this back to Jimmy Garoppolo, when I look at him, and again, we don't really got to talk a whole lot, but I'm just why I defend him. More times than not, in those last 2 minutes, I've seen him come through in the clutch. And then the statistics that came out after I said that, somebody showed me, it backed what I set up. So now it's not even Croc's opinion. Like, this is facts. The only person that was better in game-winning drives than Jimmy Garoppolo was Tom Brady. That's on paper.
No, Croc, remember, it was a small, very, very small sample size what you were using. That was
20 plus games out of the games that he's played.
And it was 10-9. He was 10-9.
No, it was like 11 and 10 or something like that.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
or something like
that's that. Not special. Now it's 11 and 11.
Well, it's better than it's a higher percentage than anyone else other than Tom Brady.
It's a small sample size, Croc. It's a small sample size.
Okay, you say it's a small sample size, but what I'm saying is those are the moments that I've seen him in. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm going off of in those moments I've seen him come through in the clutch way more times than not.
Let me get to my argument because I think I feel
and hold on, and times that he did it and maybe it didn't result in a win like the Tennessee game, right? Where he did drive the team down. They scored a touchdown, tied the game up, but then they ended
Or
up
the
kicking the field
Packers
goal.
game. Or the Packers game.
Or the Packers game where he drove down, scored a touchdown, 49ers took the lead with 37 seconds left. So you see what I'm saying? So more times than not, that's what I'm saying. He
Okay,
did it a
let
lot.
me get to my point. I love it. Okay. What do people know Julian Edelman for? Do they know Julian Edelman for his plays he made in the regular season? Or do they know Julian Edelman, the clutch playoff person? Why do people even though he probably shouldn't be in there, but why do people say Julian Edelman should be in the Hall of Fame? Why are they talking about that? Tell me, Croc. I want to know. And keep it 100 and be honest.
Wait, repeat that question.
Julian Edelman. Why do even people speak about Julian Edelman the way they do, specifically when they even say he should be in the Hall of Fame? Do they speak about
playoffs,
so?
But they tripping.
No.
They need to.
Don't
They
no,
need.
don't
They,
go
they
there.
smoking
Hold on,
crack.
let me finish. So they talk about him in the playoffs. What you done for me in the playoffs? What has Tom Brady been known for? Is it the Tom Brady success in the regular season, or is the Tom Brady in the moments where we seen him in the Super Bowl where he was clutch when it really mattered? Tell me, am I right or am I wrong, Croc?
Yeah, yes, but that's a different conversation.
Wait, hold on. But I'm gonna go to Jimmy.
I'm not talking about Jimmy Garoppolo being great. I'm just saying he's really good in the last couple of minutes.
Okay,
in general.
Okay, but
I would never. I want Jimmy gone. Like I want Jimmy Garoppolo off the team.
And I know this, but I'm saying when you bring up certain arguments and you say certain things, I have to get on you for them. So when we speak about Jimmy Garoppolo and his opportunity to be clutch in the playoffs, moments where we were down and we needed him to win, what has he done for us in the playoffs?
So you mean like the Packers game?
No, when we were down.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that because he came back against the Packers in a clutch moment, right? That was win or go home, and he completed a couple passes in the position. 49ers get field, they kick a field goal, they win the game. That does not matter.
Bro, he made 2 completions. Are you kidding me?
What is that? So he could have threw 2 incompletions because you know what? The drive before that, what did Aaron Rodgers do?
Wait, and to seal the game, what did we do? We didn't put the ball in his hands. We put the ball in Deebo Samuel's hands, the best player.
Clock management. That was great clock management.
Bro, I'll give Jimmy credit for those 2 passes. But again, when we were down and we needed a play to be made in the playoffs.
Wait, you just said you'll give him. Wait, hold on. You said you'll give him what?
I'll give him those 2 passes.
No. You used another word.
I can't remember. I'm getting old, Crack. I can't remember.
The word you used was clutch.
No, I'm not giving him that.
You did. You just said it,
bro. I'm not giving him that clutch again. But no, you're not.
You just said it.
When we were down, and we needed him to be great in the playoffs, the guy you said you would take over Josh Allen in the last 2 minutes.
What I have seen throughout their careers, yes.
What did he do versus the Chiefs? What did he do versus the who did we just play versus the Rams? Tell me, Croc. What is his numbers? I want to know that.
So are you saying that the Packers game does not count?
Dang, Croc. I mean, he completed 2 passes and it was a tie game.
So it does not count.
Even if
it does not count.
Even if he didn't do anything, we would have went into overtime, is what I'm saying.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, does it not count? That doesn't count as a clutch moment.
Completing 2 passes, bro.
49ers are backed up. 49ers are backed up. It's a tie game. They need to get in field goal range to win this game and head to the NFC Championship game. And the passes that he completed that contributed to the 49ers driving down the field, that was not a clutch moment. That's what you're saying. To keep the 49ers season going.
In tie games, he's got 1 clutch moment. I'm gonna give you it. I give people arguments.
What about week 18? Because essentially that was a playoff game. Was that not a clutch moment?
That's not a playoff game, though.
How is that not a playoff game?
Because it wasn't a playoff game.
Go home.
It wasn't a playoff game. And all he did was bail himself out. Wait, hold on. All he did was bail himself out.
I'm not talking about him for the rest of the game.
No,
I'm not talking about him.
Was bail himself out for a poor performance. What did we see when the last 5 minutes happened? What happened? Tell me what happened when it was 5 minutes left in the game. What did he do?
What
Tell
have
me.
I said about him? I
Oh,
said for the
crap.
first 57 minutes of games, I don't want him. I've said
Okay,
that.
but in the playoffs, in the final 2 minutes, when we were down, not a tie game, I'm gonna give you. He was clutch versus Packers. I'll give that to you. You can have
Hold on.
that.
Was the Rams a playoff game? With that I mean, the week
No,
18.
that was
We're
not a
saying that's
playoff
not a.
game. In the record books, that is not a playoff game. We are talking specific playoffs. We're talking about the quarterback. You said you would take over Josh Allen, who has the worst fourth quarter QB rating of all time in the fourth quarter. What did he? Matter of fact, what
Okay.
did he do against the Cowboys? What did he do against the Cowboys? He tried to
Listen,
give them the game. He's the
he
reason they
did.
stayed in the game. The
And
quarterback
that's
that
because
you
he's
love.
Jimmy Garoppolo. But what I'm
Exactly.
saying is he has come through more times than not when the 49ers need the most in clutch situations. Now, you could say that this moment might be bigger than this moment. You could say that. Well, okay, well,
Players are remembered for.
the divisional
Players are
round
specific.
moment isn't as big as the NFC championship moment. But at the end of the day, I just look at them as both moments.
No, players are specifically remembered for what they've done in the playoffs and the big moments. In the Super Bowl, he didn't get it done. In the
But
NFC
listen,
Championship to take us to the
you're
Super
talking
Bowl,
about
he
something.
didn't get it
You're
done.
picking a specific moment. When have I been saying
Because
this? When did I
moments are
start saying
bigger.
this 2-minute thing?
Wait, moments are
That's
big.
not a comment that I've made. It didn't just start like a week ago, right?
But
I've been saying this.
I'm talking about the last 2 minutes. He
I know, but now
did
you're
bad in the
taking
last two
something I
minutes.
said. You're taking something I said, and again, the playoffs is like more of a small sample size. But you're taking something I said, and then like pushing that over, like, oh, well, just this moment. It's like, no, I've been saying this. I've been saying this before he did it against all these other teams, right? Like I've been saying that when the game was on the line against the Rams, I was saying, oh, he's gonna come through in this moment. The season was on the line.
Well,
Right. And I was
before,
saying it in like before that. So like that, so that's what I'm saying. Like
no, I
to
want to get on
me,
Brandon. I want to get on Brandon at you, but can we finish? I just want us to. I want you to answer this question. I want you to answer this question. I don't want no explanation after it. None of that.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Are in the NFL, are there some moments bigger than the others?
100%.
That's all I need to know.
Okay. So go ahead with the Ayuk.
Well,
Hey, just hurry up and get to Ayuk before I want to. Oh, listen, hold on real quick. I want to let everybody know. One, we didn't come on here to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. Two, I know who Jimmy Garoppolo is, and I'm so happy. Like, good. Like, okay, it's Trey Lance era. So I just had defended Jimmy in those 3 minutes of his 60 minutes. That's it. I've defended him in that. And it's like, because of that, it's like, oh man, you defend Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like, all right, he's cool.
Well, I want to get back to Christian Watson. Just the comments that you said about, what Christian Watson can do for this offense where, hey, you can tell somebody in this offense to go run a straight line downfield and throw him the ball. I would say, and you even brought this conversation up. We've seen Deebo do that. You just haven't had many opportunities to do that.
I've watched him though. I've been really looking, and I'm not saying that he can't. Again, it's tough because it's a very small sample size, right? With him just running straight and throwing the ball, they've maybe done it 4 times, like in his career. I don't know, not very many. There was one that it just looked so awkward that I'm like, you know what, Deebo, that kind of had me a little worried. It was against the Jacksonville Jaguars, I believe, down the left sideline. They threw a fade to him, and he looked like the way he went up. Again, small sample size, but that's all I have to go off of because he doesn't really have a ton. It just looked a little unnatural, but maybe it's because they don't do it a whole lot. But obviously, I mean, I watched him in college. Like, I know he can. I've watched him in the NFL. They did it a couple times, but it would be nice to have somebody with a bigger catch radius.
Did they play the Bears the week before?
Nah, it was the Bears and then the
Cardinals,
and then the Rams and then the Jaguars.
Okay. So in the Bears game, I believe they threw it deep to him. I'm correct on this, right? They threw it deep to him and he caught it. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, the post route. Yeah, post route.
Yeah, okay. So yes, it is a very small sample size, but we've seen he can do it. We seen Ayuk in the NFC Championship do it. I think
Yeah.
I think we're you saying I just don't I just our receivers have not gotten up the opportunities to do that enough. I mean, because that's really not been in this offense. So I just don't like making observations on our skill guys because of the limitations that they have to play with. They were limited in what they can do. This offense was limited in what they can do. And I think there's another level, like you said, that this offense can be this. There's another level of this offense, like I seen with the Atlanta Falcons. They led the league in down the field throws. If you have a quarterback and throw down the field, Kyle Shanahan will open up this playoff game. When you seen Brandon Ayuk with Trey Lance, and you seen Trey Lance passing yards per attempt, it was like 11. And I'm not saying that's going to be a consistent thing, but when you see stuff like that, you see like, okay, this offense can be really dynamic. There can be a lot of downfield throws with the quarterback that we have, and what you see from these skill guys, there's another level to them. They can be really special. Brandon Ayuk can be really special. He could be 1,000-yard receiver with a Deebo
Yeah,
having
I
a
believe
thousand
so.
yards.
I
And,
believe
and
so.
and if you look at it, Kittle had 800 to 900 yards, which I mean, it's crazy that his targets went down. He should have had another 1,000-yard season. Debo was already
Easily.
1,000 yards, and Brandon Ayuk had 800, and that's with Jimmy Garoppolo. So just think with a better, more dynamic quarterback with better play. I mean, with different type of play calls, I definitely think that we can have a trio of 1,000 yards, or two guys with 1,000 yards and another guy with 900 yards. I just don't like to judge our players off of the limitations that was put on them. So
I have a
I think
question.
there's another
Do
level.
you think that some of the players the 49ers currently have were obviously outside of George Kittle because he was taken in 2017, but when you look at Debo, when you look at Ayuk, even Jennings, in the way that they win, do you think that they were maybe drafted to suit some of Jimmy Garoppolo's strengths?
No, because in 2019, in 2019 you seen the Niners tried their best. Well, not no. You see in 2019 the Niners was like, man, let's get off of Jimmy. All right, we're gonna think about getting off of Jimmy. And this is Super Bowl year, and they was like, Tom Brady. It's a possibility we can get Tom Brady. I don't know. Let's get rid of him. So I think in the Niners' head since 2019, I think they've had this mindset of upgrading the quarterback. After 2019, they've been having this mindset of upgrading the quarterback. So when you bring in a Brandon Ayuk, I'm thinking
Hold on,
in the
hold on.
Niners.
I think Jimmy was never Kyle Shanahan's guy.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
think there
yeah.
was always the thought of I could potentially do better. Not
Mm-hmm.
saying that, but truly, any smart person knows, like, okay, yeah, maybe I could do better. But I mean, obviously, this is someone who I can win with and I can work with it. He proved that, 2 NFC Championship appearances in the last 3 years. But I don't, I don't, I don't think he ever quite got over the whole Kirk Cousins thing.
I mean,
Now that's John Lynch's words, right? John Lynch was like, yeah, he was kind of in a funk for a while over that. Like he was kind of depressed over that. So that's why
oh
I
really?
mean, but even then, yeah, you don't remember that? John Lynch said that. Like he was
I,
really
I
Kyle
mean, but
Shanahan was really kind of like distraught over the fact that once they got Jimmy Garoppolo, it's like, damn, I can't get Kirk Cousins, and he really had a plan to get Kirk Cousins.
yeah, and and I think the Niners truly would have won with Kirk Cousins. I just don't know if they would have been able to match with the Vikings there, because the Vikings technically gave Kirk Cousins a fully guaranteed contract, which is rare in the NFL. And I don't know. I mean, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I just don't think the players that we like picking up a Brandon Ayuk. I don't really trip off the Jennings one, but somebody like a Brandon Ayuk, I don't think the Niners was thinking, yeah, man, Jimmy's gonna just be doing great things with him. I think the Niners was thinking, like I sent you today, there's people who are thinking ahead. And I think the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, specifically Kyle Shanahan, I think he's thinking ahead. And he got his quarterback. And now next year, or maybe even the year, I would say in the second half of next year, you will see a completely different 49ers offense. It's going to be special.
I'll say this. I think there's I mean Deebo is a special receiver. I do think there's still more that they can get out of him in the sense of usage as a receiver, being able to threaten certain areas of the field with Trey Lance. I think Ayuk, there's more to him being able to win vertically. But I do think that their strengths fit Jimmy Garoppolo in the sense of winning immediately at the line of scrimmage, being able to run after catch. I think that was definitely in the mindset, in the thought process when they drafted him.
When you watch Brandon Ayuk, what did you like about him the most during the draft?
His ability to win at the line of scrimmage and his run after catch.
Okay. I think
so. I say all that to say, do you think that there's an opportunity for them or an area where they feel like, you know what, we do have these terrific guys that obviously, you've seen Trey Lance, improve his rapport with Brandon Ayuk. And I think there's more to that, right? Like, I think that's going to be big time. Obviously, Deebo Samuel is Deebo. He's going to get off regardless. Do you think that there is a player that they're like, you know what, we have a quarterback now that we're going to build this team around who has a different dynamic? Can we potentially add someone that threatens a different level of the field that will go hand in hand with everyone else, but add a different dynamic? And that's where I come in with a guy like Christian Watson. It would be more specifically, not just for Trey Lance because Trey Lance is your quarterback and he played with him at North Dakota State, but more so because, Trey Lance is our quarterback and he can work different areas of the field. Oh, by the way, there's this guy that 6'4", 210, and potentially runs a 4.3, low 4.4s. Like, that adds a different element to the offense and be able to expand while still being able to utilize Deebo Samuel and Ayuk to do things that they do well.
I would say this again. I just think it would be truly hard, and I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. I don't think the Niners would draft. Maybe they would. Maybe I don't know. I just think it would be really hard for a receiver to come in here and beat out the three guys we have. Not to say that we can't bring in some other guys. Jennings? I really truly believe it. I thought he had a really good year. I think in Kyle Shanahan's head, he's like, man, Jennings is really good. And
if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm thinking, damn, if I did this with Jennings, imagine what I'll do with Christian Watson.
But let me say this. I think the biggest thing is, I think the biggest winner out of all of this, surprisingly, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I think George Kittle is going to benefit the most out of this. I truly think so. I think the tight end that we all truly believe in. I mean, yes, he had those games against Seattle, and he had the game. Well, he had a game against Seattle, and what's the other team he did that against? We went crazy.
Who?
George Kittle.
It was Seattle, and it was like damn near back-to-back games. Damn near. I don't remember exactly who it was.
Cincinnati. I think, and he had 12 targets and 15 targets. Those games. I think you're going to see more of those type of numbers with Trey Lance. And I truly believe this with all my heart. I think George Kittle is going to benefit the most out of all the players we have. 100%.
Okay, I can see that.
And shout out to Archie.
Yeah, shout out to Archie for the I hope that was an entertaining back and forth. A lot of people were saying, you definitely hear the Jimmy's gone. And it's like, we know, but we're just adding context to the conversation. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it was never about Jimmy, but when we speak about our weapons and what they can be and what they were with the quarterback we have, I mean, it's going to come back to Jimmy regardless. Like, people got to
As
understand
far as
that.
how they were utilized so far, and that's
Exactly.
yeah.
Like, we have to bring up Jimmy Garoppolo. Y'all may not like it, but at the end, but y'all really do like it. Let's just keep it a bug. Y'all like it. But at the end of the day, if I'm gonna speak on Brandon Ayuk, and I feel like Croc is slighting Brandon Ayuk, well, I have to defend Brandon Ayuk because I feel like the opportunities, especially specifically downfield, he didn't get the opportunities like that. Fans don't, because you got fans calling him a bust. I've seen it a couple of times
Who got
because
or are you saying people in
Brandon
general, or are you
Ayuk.
saying me?
No, not you. I'm seeing
Oh,
fans. Fans have called him a bust. I've seen it a
that's
couple of
wild.
times on Twitter already. Because, and they're saying this because, which I don't know why they're saying it, because he's had some good games this year. Like I said, the dude almost had 1,000 yards. But the reason why they're saying this is because we haven't seen he's a first round receiver, and we haven't really got to see him be super dynamic. And I have to blame the quarterback. It has to
I
come back to the quarterback.
yeah, I think he's more comparable to like Tyler Boyd, right? Have you ever looked up Tyler Boyd's numbers?
Yeah,
Hold on.
that's my
So
guy.
here we, and that's why when it comes back to the Bengals, right? So Tyler Boyd, I liked him coming out of Pittsburgh. By the way, I probably would have drafted him. He went second
He was
round.
one of my favorite receivers coming out.
So Tyler Boyd, look at his career numbers. Here we go. So he's had 2,000-yard seasons. In the last couple of years, he's went over 800 each time. All right, so very productive receiver. Again, 2018 over 1,000, 2019 over 1,000, and in the last two seasons over 800 in each one. And I think that's not saying that IU can't be more than that, but I like that they said, you know what, Tyler Boyd, we really like you. Maybe we've had to depend a little bit too much on you at times, and you're very productive. Let's work you more in the slot. All right. And we're going to add this lengthy guy on the outside of you, T. Higgins, and we're going to add this stud on the other side, Jamar Chase. And I think with the 49ers having Deebo Samuel, and if you add a Christian Watson, we'll see. But and let Ayuk do his thing over the middle, I think he'd eat and be a walking 800 yards a season.
But
And he's already had that already. But still, when you look at what Jamar Chase and T. Higgins bring, it's just a different dynamic, right? It's just a different dynamic. So I would like to see Ayuk do more work over the middle in space again with more favorable matchups, and him be a 850 yard guy per season. I think that would be a win. Now, is
I
it
think
Justin Jefferson and maybe or is it maybe what they might the Cowboys might be trying to get from CeeDee Lamb? No, but I still think that's a win with him being that productive with other guys that are being productive as well.
I think I think Brandon Ayuk is actually, and I think you would agree with me on this, and maybe you won't, but I think Brandon Ayuk is a more athletic receiver than Tyler Boyd. Is that fair?
I wouldn't say that.
What? Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Well, just off of seeing it, I didn't think so, but I looked up the numbers to confirm my beliefs, and just one of the things I seen was Tyler Boyd's 40 time. He ran a 4.58. What did Ayuk run?
It wasn't no 4.58. It was 4.50, and
and, and
and it was with a core muscle strain.
yeah, and you can see on film, like when I watch, because I was a Tyler Boyd fan. I really wanted the Niners to pick him, but I never seen like dynamic athleticism from a Tyler Boyd, and I'm a big fan of his. Always will be a big fan of his. I think AU is definitely a better athlete.
More dynamic.
Arms, his catch radius is better. I think he's more explosive. So
do you think this? So wouldn't it be more ideal to play him more in the slot? Have him, obviously he could line up outside as well. I think the 49ers receivers, they're asked to play all positions. But what if you have IU? This show is supposed to be about Deebo, but we're talking about all the receivers now. What if you said, you know what? You're gonna work more from the slot. Now you're gonna have much more favorable matchups playing against more nickel corners, more linebackers in space, more safeties in space, and use that more dynamic ability that that he has more dynamic, and you even get more out of him than maybe what Cincinnati's gotten out of Tyler Boyd.
I'm not going to argue against that. I would definitely wouldn't mind seeing him play the slot, and then that means, I mean, I guess that means the Niners would, get an outside receiver. They got to be a dynamic outside receiver. You got to remember, I mean, T. Higgins, I mean, the dude was a baller in college. Jamar Chase, I mean, the numbers he put up in college is crazy. Tyler
Yeah,
Boyd in
crazy.
college was a dog too. So I mean,
Yeah.
we would have to find somebody who's a very dynamic receiver in the draft. I mean, and it could be Christian Watson, or it could be another receiver in 2023, which is my class. Somebody like a Kiki Booty, which none these
Out
people
of,
don't even want.
he's
They
still
don't
at
even know.
LSU.
Yeah,
Is he
yeah,
still at
LSU,
LSU?
special player, man.
They had guys
Special.
transfer, so
Yeah. I think he's still at LSU, but he's special. He's a very special receiver. Jermaine Burton is going to
I
Alabama.
like
I
him
think he's a
going to
very
Alabama.
special speedster guy.
You
I
don't
mean,
think,
all
but the two guys you just named, you don't think that like it's like damn, all our guys are kind of similar.
to them,
Like if the 49ers added Booty or they added uh
Burton.
Burton, it's like you know what I'm saying? It's kind of
Yeah,
the set. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying. But Kiki Booty is special though. Kiki Booty is special, bro. Like
Hey, my bad on saying that
just
Boyd. And again, I didn't say that he wasn't more athletic than Boyd, but I was saying like I think Boyd looks good out there. I think he moves well. He doesn't look slow. He looks pretty explosive to me. His run after catch is good. Like he stretches the field. Like I mean,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
when you see a player play, you know, like he's got it, but he's not. Like you
Yeah.
could tell watching Boyd, he's not super athletic, but he's still a baller. But I mean, for me,
I've
I
watched
don't know.
Ayuk, and I think Ayuk has showed these moments where it's like, damn, this motherfucker is like a freak of nature, right?
And,
Like, but I don't know if he consistently shows that throughout games. Now, again, most people say, they might tie it back to Jimmy Garoppolo and say it was, Jimmy that kind of limited maybe the explosive play making ability that Ayuk has, and there could be something to that. But I've been a little critical on what I saw of him coming out of college, and I thought it would be a little bit more dynamic en route. I feel like there are. It's hard to because people will get on me for, and I've had people come at me already for this take, but I feel like he could be a little bit better with separation at times. And I want to see him take that next step and being more consistent with that.
well, I want to go back because I love this. This shows that I low key got some knowledge in the during the draft process, and you got on a lot of people for this. I called Brandon AU, and maybe you still believe it. Maybe I'm still wrong, but I called Brandon Ayuk. I said he was a raw route runner coming out, and you disagree with that. You
I
were like,
thought he was
nah,
a solid, yeah, at separation and stuff like that.
yeah. And so now that you see what he is, do you think that he's improved his route running? Do you think it's his route running that is caused the lack of separation? Do you think my take was a fair? Do you think my take was fair of him coming out of college now?
I don't know because
That's a good
I can
question.
visualize him right now at Arizona State whooping dudes. Like I can see it in my head. You know what
But
I'm
he,
saying?
I
I
don't
had
feel like he
somebody in
ran that
here.
many routes at Arizona State though. He wasn't asked to run many
Well,
routes. I
that
think we had
I,
Croc.
I
I
had
remember.
somebody say, Crocker, I remember you said Ayuk looks limited after the catch. So my thing with him after the catch is how many times, and I thought that was a big part of his game at Arizona State. I thought it looked really good. Uh I thought that I would see more of him making guys miss after the catch. Now, I have seen him bounce off some tackles and then pick up extra yardage, right? Like somebody go to hit him, he bounced off of it. I've seen him do that a few times now, right? And we also, I mean, we all know the special one that we saw over in at Philadelphia's rookie year. But I would like to see, and when I talk about him in my head and what I think Ayuk potentially can be, I would like to see Ayuk make a guy miss in space. And have we seen that? Like
So
tell me a time off the top of your head where you're like, Ayuk made this guy miss. Like he caught the ball and he made this guy miss and picked up yards after catch.
I said it, but you didn't give me that. You didn't give it to me. I
Okay.
can't remember
Okay.
now, but I remember I said, "Oh, he did. He jump cut, did something, and ran up the sideline." And he was like, "Nah, I'm not giving you that." It was a game. I forgot though. But I mean, what you're saying is you haven't seen enough explosiveness from Brandon Ayuk consistently, is what you're saying, right?
Uh, after the catch, I feel like there's more in there.
Yeah, because I mean, at Arizona State, he looks very explosive as a receiver,
Right.
and even as a returner, he looked very explosive. I I'm gonna tie back to the quarterback. Quarterback, I think you'll be able to see that with Trey Lance in there. I really think Trey Lance is gonna open up a lot in this offense. And maybe you could call me a Trey fan or something, but I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm keeping it 100. I truly believe. I really truly. I watched that Texans game again. And it was like, Jesus, man, this kid can really do a lot with this offense. I'm
Yeah.
excited, man. I'm sorry. I'm excited. I think everybody in the chat should be excited. Trey Lance is about to take this offense to a whole nother level. When Andy Reid got Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not saying Trey Lance will be Patrick Mahomes, so y'all need to chill. But when Andy Reid finally got his quarterback, it was the perfect marriage. And it took Andy Reid, who's a genius. We all knew Andy Reid was, a genius, and it's taken him to a whole nother stratosphere as a coach.
Yeah.
And I think there's a chance that Lance can do that with Shanahan. We only need him to be half that. If he can be half that, man, this can be special. And at the end of the day, our season ended because we needed a special player to make special plays for us. And we just didn't have that in the Super Bowl and in NFC Championship. And I think going forward, we will have that guy to make special plays in special moments. And he's going to be remembered a little small percentage of what he did in the regular season, but for the great things he's going to do in the playoffs. And I'm
Yeah.
going to end it on that because I got to go to work.
All right.
So
Appreciate you
thanks,
coming on
Croc,
and
for
talking
having
with me
me
for
on
an
for
hour.
long. I didn't plan on being on here long enough, but I really wanted to just pick my bone with you on Jennings, but it went further than that. But thank you, Croc.
All right. Appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
All right, real quick. I have some tweets here that I start. So typically I'll start some tweets and I know I want to get back to those. All right. So here we go. Someone said, I feel like Croc is downplaying Ayuk's talent. Uh, I wouldn't say I'm downplaying his talent. I think that I am. I think maybe my expectations on what I thought like of him, like watching him when I really dug into his film, I was like, I think there's more in there. So I'm waiting for that more to come out. Now, maybe it might be as simple as a different quarterback, and that might be bring them more out. All right, so I think that's what it is. I'm not so much downplaying it, but I'm like, yeah, I think there's more. I think there's more to Ayuk. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he is what we've seen, and that's good. I still think that can be 1,000-yard receiver. But you watch say like CeeDee Lamb. I don't think CeeDee Lamb. Coming out, it's like CeeDee Lamb's not more dynamic than Ayuk. I think obviously CeeDee Lamb was terrific. I thought he was a better 50-50 ball catcher. Obviously his run after catch in the Big 12 was amazing. But I didn't think that just comparing the two guys like Lamb is more dynamic. But have y'all watched Ayuk return punts and CeeDee Lamb return punts? It looks different, right? It just looks different. It looks like Lamb is more dynamic. And I'm like, how, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got it. So there's that. I got my guy, Sean Buller. He says, Croc, I ain't trying to roast you. Didn't you say something about Jamar Chase struggling in the NFL? All right, now, with my takes on Jamar Chase, and we'll get into those real quick. My takes on Jamar Chase coming out. I had him at wide receiver too. So I really liked him. All right. I think because I was the only one that pushed back on his lack of ability to separate en route. And I was questioning how would that translate to the NFL, and that he needed a quarterback that would trust him in contested catch situations because I felt like his big strength of his was the vertically pushing routes or potentially run after catch. How consistent would that be? Would he be able to bully NFL DBs? But even within that, and that was just kind of if I was to make notes, that wasn't like, oh, I think he's going to suck at the NFL or that, oh, he's going to struggle. I just question, is he going to be able to win that same way at a high level? Now, good for him. He went to a perfect situation where he has a quarterback that says, hey, I'm going to give you opportunities. I'm going to throw the ball up in the air and you do your thing and you come down with it. And I think he does. And he's done it at a very high level. So those were kind of my things. It wasn't so much that I thought Chase would be bad in the NFL. Again, wide receiver 2, had him right behind Devontae Smith. I feel like if you swapped them teams, if you swapped Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase, I think Devontae Smith would get off. I think he's almost 1,000-yard receiver, struggling with a guy that isn't very good at kind of throwing the ball. In Jalen Hurts, I think Jalen Hurts is okay as a passer. I think that takes away from a lot of what Devontae Smith can do. I think if you switch them spots, it might be different. Chase be smoking fools in and out of routes. You know, there was a time where Chase he went through a big lull in the middle of the year, right? And why did he go through that? And when I say big lull, it was like 4 or 5 straight games with under 50 yards receiving. Why did that happen? Well, team said, you know what? We're not going to let you beat us over the top. We're just going to put 2 high safety, and we'll see if you can win that way. And he had to try to struggle. He kind of struggled to figure it out. How can I win that way? That was him trying to figure out, like, how do I win with underneath routes? Now, that's not to say that he's not amazing after the catch. He's amazing in 2 areas. One, running straight by guys, and he's amazing at the catch point and those big plays. If you go back and watch games on a lot of his early production, really most of his production through the year, is big plays. Big plays. Now, that's not to say that he can't show you moments of being able to run routes and stuff like that. But a lot of his production, go back and watch like his first 3 games. And what are you going to see? What you're going to see? Run straight, by a DB, catch the ball, touchdown. Run straight. There was one game he had like 3 catches, 2 touchdowns, and like 70 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's running by guys. I was wondering, like, is he going to have to be utilized to win underneath on stuff? And then so there could be some issues with that. And we saw some of that at different points in the season. But he's a special player. So you put on the Chiefs film, and he runs this curl route, and he catches it in between 5 guys and outruns everybody in the end zone. He's a special athlete. So that was kind of my thing on him. In and out of routes, he's not really, and it doesn't matter. If he doesn't win with routes in that way, then I think that's fine. You said Chase was overrated. I wouldn't say. People said that he was a generational talent, and I pushed back on generational talent because my expectations of what a generational talent is Calvin Johnson. Like, y'all, if you type in Eric Crocker generational, I don't say people are generational talents. Calvin Johnson to me was that's generational. Now, that's not to say that you can't prove to be a generational player at the NFL level, but as far as generational prospects, I pushed back on that with Jamar Chase. Now, he could prove me to be wrong, but my expectations as a generational prospect, it has to be something we've never seen, and you don't see Calvin Johnson. You don't see Calvin Johnson. I'd say that, Deebo Samuel, like, we had this conversation before the season, like, is he generational? Because he's different, right? I don't know that. So yeah, overrated. I think, it's crazy how people spin words and they say, it's like, oh, you said this, you push back on being generational, so now you're saying he's overrated. I wouldn't say that. Croc wasn't very high on Ayuk. I was fairly high on him. I think at one point I had him like top 5 receiver. And after 49ers drafted him, I had him the second wide receiver 2. I did a redraft. Hey, listen to this. So from that class, I did a not a redraft, but a re-rank where I had T. Higgins at 1 because he went to Cincinnati and I liked him going with Burrow. Ayuk at 2, Jefferson at 3, Lamb at 4, and Chase Claypool, who I did not like pre-draft. I had him at 5. So hold on real quick. How important is it being able to know and trust exactly where in space your QB will put the ball? I think it's more like kind of flipped. I think it's more important that the quarterback trusts that the receiver is going to be in the right spot and his confidence that he has in his receiver pulling down the catch. I wonder if that's some of it with Jimmy Garoppolo and his inability to kind of throw the ball down the field. Did he not trust that his guys would come down with it? Gammon, send the link to the chat. We'll get back to this chat tomorrow. I got to go pick up my car. I just bought a new car. So I won't be able to get to the callers today. And I know Chris is actually going to kill me for this. So what y'all don't know is my guy, Chris, we talk a lot of times after I'm on the show and stuff like that. And he'll give me like pointers and stuff like that. He's going to kill me for not having the fans on. Cause that's actually his favorite part about this show is y'all coming on. And I like to have this as more of a like open conversation, like a radio show. Probably won't get to that today, but C Lamb has been struggling playing on the outside. Yes. And that was one thing I was a little curious with CD Lamb. I saw the ability, but it was very inconsistent. He's definitely somebody more suited to play inside, and he can kill from there. I know, no Deebo talk. Okay, listen, this is what we'll do. This is what we'll do, y'all. Because we didn't get to the Deebo Samuel talk. I'll change the title of this and we'll get to the Deebo talk tomorrow. How about that? How about that? Croc, what ride did you cop? I got a Charger. I got a RT. I had to go with the V8. So my wife was like, and I'll answer this. You got a car? Congratulations. So no, I didn't get a Durango. I got a Charger. Now a lot of people were like, oh, it's a bad time to buy a car. And I do think so. You know what I'm saying? But also, I don't know if the prices are going to go down. People think that they will. Oh, the chips to come in and people, but we've been waiting on the price of everything. I'm building a building right now outside of my window. And y'all know, y'all that have been listening to me for a while, of a sports performance facility, 12,000 square foot. They're actually out there right now working on it. Let's go. Let's go. I think it'll be up in about a month or so, a month and a half. But the price of wood went up. You think they're going to start because, oh, well, they've been charging 3 times the amount for wood. All of a sudden, they're going to drop the prices eventually. Like, no, I think it's just going to stay up. I think with cars, it's the same thing. Now, somebody that knows more about cars, they might tell me, like, no, it eventually will go down. I just think the price of everything will go up. I don't know when it's going to go down. I don't know when it's going to go down. I think everything's going to stay priced high. But yeah, so they have this, which I didn't know about a Charger GT. They have a GT, but it's a V6. And my wife was like, well, this one looks the same. Why don't you just get this one? It's cheaper. And I was like, babe, it's like if God, this is why I explained to my wife. It's like if God was like, all right, Croc, you can have this average dick or you can have this big dick. Which one do you want? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna choose the bigger dick, right? Most of y'all. And I think is you want the V8 or you want the V6? I need that Hemi. Yeah, it's a Hemi, Sean. So yeah, that was kind of, so I had to get the Hemi. Make sure if y'all haven't already, we got the Frontline Sports Network. We're about to start. I've been so busy, y'all, so busy. But I'm going to start a game plan for the offseason to bring roundtable discussions to the Frontline Sports Network. So make sure you guys go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the Frontline Sports YouTube channel. Do that for me. Right now, I need everyone. Click the link. Go subscribe to the YouTube, the Frontline Sports Network. We're going to be doing roundtables. There's going to be different podcasts. We got a soccer one, like all kind of stuff. So yeah, man, make sure you guys go subscribe to that right now. And also, if you like this show and this conversation that we've had, hit the like button and subscribe button on this video. All right, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. I appreciate all of y'all who have come on and contributed to the show. Obviously, the conversation, the comments in here, you guys have been amazing. Appreciate all that, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hope everybody's good. I hope everybody's good in spirit. I hope everybody's good mentally. I hope everybody gets out of today what they're looking for. Set goals, new goals, and go accomplish them. Y'all got it, man. I'm out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.